Oh, no, it's fun. Good fun.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to, I think we're calling it DLTV on the Fringe again from Digicon 2016. And we're here with Jenine Beekhuyzen. I think I got it right. From the Tech Girls movement. She's absolutely amazing. Her superhero power is definitely changing the world, not just your amazing smile. And we just had a fabulous keynote by you. And it's all about empowering girls to be involved in tech, but even bigger than that, recognizing our diversity and how that can have an impact on our future.
It was wonderful to hear your ideas for tapping into that other half of and population, and being able to leverage change and make the world a better place to live in. I love the message of your session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm glad the message came through, and I'm very excited to be here chatting to you today.
Yeah. So you've been on this passion-fueled adventure for a few years now. What can you say are the big changes that you've noticed since you've really started driving for more tech girls?
Yeah, passion journey is correct. And every day I question, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then I find the inspiration to keep going, particularly from our young females out there doing amazing stuff. Big changes. We're not really seeing the big changes in terms of women studying technology necessarily. And I often get the question, well, you're doing all of these things. Why don't we have more women doing tech?
Where is the stats?
Exactly. And it's quite a frustrating question in that it suggests by doing one thing, there's an automatic flow-on effect to something else. And I think one of the points I tried to make in the presentation today is that there are a multitude of factors that de-influence girls, essentially. So we need to have a multi-pronged approach to actually fix that. And my answer to that is often, if we weren't doing what we were doing, we'd actually have a lot less girls.
Yes.
So I really think that's the case. So even though we don't have the numbers per se, it is kind of one girl at a time at the moment, kind of like the starfish idea. You throw the starfish back into the water one at a time. But I think there is power in that. And I think I'm starting to see a groundswell, and it's called the Tech Girls movement for a reason, because I'm trying to create a movement. This is certainly not about me. It's about our next generation. And the fact that people are starting to own it and they're starting to take it on as their own is powerful. And I'm seeing the movement grow, and that's very, very exciting.
So are there particular individuals' stories that you think are really, really powerful? Are there some standout stories of those girls that have had a moment of inspiration and taken a tech pathway?
Oh, absolutely. There's so many, and I could have spoken for hours up there on stage, but of course I'd probably put everyone to sleep. But no. And there are a few of them in there I didn't quite get to, but I'll have them in the slides that I'm going to upload today.
Fabulous.
SlideShare.
Stay tuned.
Yes, they'll be on
the description as well, so we'll link to them there.
Wonderful. So in 2014, the winner of our competition, her name is Sarah Price, and so Sarah's from Melbourne, actually, Melbourne Girls Grammar. And at the time, we didn't have the curriculum for the program, but it was kind of like send in your ideas for your app and what you would like to see change the world. And so Sarah, at the time, she had already created an app. It was called Positive Penguins. And what Positive Penguins does is it allows young children to deal with difficult situations, and it helps build confidence and self-esteem in young people. So she was 12 at the time of entering. She had already sold 20,000 copies of her app.
I may even have that app.
Oh, wonderful. See, that's fantastic. Go, Sarah. Sarah is amazing. She's one of our ambassadors. She's just such an inspiration. And I got to spend a bit of time with her at EduTech the other week. Yeah. Because she presented at EduTech.
She did. I was there.
Oh, see, I was in another session with the Baroness at the time. But yeah, that's fantastic. And she's so inspiring. She's sold 30,000 copies, and she's onto her 4th app.
Wow.
So if you haven't got Positive Penguins, go and get a copy. But it's just such a great tool for young people to build their confidence and deal with those difficult situations. So she's one of the best stories that I can talk about.
And what I really liked about her story is it wasn't so much about I did coding and I made this thing, or I know this language, or I use this program. It was actually, I really want to help people feel better in their lives and be able to cope and things like that as well. So it was actually more of a psych need than anything else that drove her creation. And it started as a PowerPoint, wasn't it? So not
at
super
school.
Amazing techie. And then it was developed into an app, which is really cool.
Absolutely. And she's been working with some hospitals and things and just helping, help change the world. And I think that's one of my favorite stories, because she's just such I'm very excited to see what she'll do next.
Yeah.
So we had some great stories. Let me mention a couple more.
Sure.
So we had last year our our winners of the competition, the search for the next tech girl superhero. That was Team Paws Out. So their app was connecting hectic dog owners with teenage dog walkers. It's kind of like an Uber for dog walking.
Yeah.
I heard in the crowd this morning that everyone going, woo!
And
we all need that.
You can mash that up with Pokemon as well, so people can walk dogs and collect Pokemon.
What a brilliant idea!
Yeah.
I'll pass that on.
Fitness and friends.
They literally landed from San Francisco this morning, where we've been for the last week in Silicon Valley. They've been showing off the app to all sorts of interesting people from around the world, and so they're doing very amazing things. And they have a working prototype now that we've been playing with, and they're getting that fully developed. I think the launch date is the 26th of September for the full app. Not too far away. And so two others I'll mention very quickly is our New South Wales finalist from last year was Emma. And so Emma created an app called Emma's Wagon. Emma's 9.
Oh, bless.
Emma joined the competition on her own. She didn't even have a team. And she created an app to help parents coordinate after-school carpooling activities.
That is really good.
9.
That's really good.
Amazing.
Saw a problem, logistical problem.
Absolutely. And this is it. And it's about young people solving young people's problems. And that's what I love so much about the competition, because I don't know what their problems are and I don't know how to solve them. But for them to identify what's important to them. So obviously she wanted to go somewhere after school, and Mum said, I don't have time to drive you there. So she thought, wow, I need a solution to this.
What is my solution?
Exactly. So it's very problem-based solutions. And our WA finalists from last year were Vocabulary Voyagers, and they created an app to help kids prepare for NAPLAN.
Oh, cool.
Amazing.
That's great.
So they've now been working lots on their app. They've now 3,000 downloads, I believe, last week, which is pretty cool. And for the global competition, they came in the top 1% of entries out of 800 entries from around the world. So they almost made it to the finals to San Francisco to pitch, but not quite. But they did amazing, and they're now fundraising and trying to get their app even better. And then someone mentioned to me while I was overseas, how about they could use that app to teach someone from any language how to speak English?
Fabulous.
It's
Extending their
massive market.
I love it.
So yeah, there's so many amazing young women doing great things, and it's just about celebrating them and the things that they're building.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Jenine, I'm blessed. I teach at a wonderful girls' school called Mater Christi in the Hills, and I look at some of the projects that the students are doing, and they have a wonderful engagement with thinking about hands-on problem solving, making a difference in the world. And it seems to be something that we sometimes miss, that girls don't just want to do this for some sort of career development, they actually want to make a difference. And I was inspired by your idea of every girl needs to find their superpower. What made you think of that?
That's an excellent question that you asked. And there was actually something very specific that brought that around. To be honest, I'm not actually that much into superheroes, but I realized they are a powerful vehicle. Cool. Oh, capes. Yeah. I love the capes, absolutely. And I love the concept of you've got one special thing about you that makes you different to everybody else. And what is that unique? And often when you're young, that seemed to be a negative thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's about turning that around and saying, well, actually, that's the best thing about you probably. And that's the thing that's going to make you do what you do in life.
Yeah.
And so I was at the Brisbane Writers Festival in Brisbane a couple of years ago, and there was a presenter there who actually created a character for, I think it was for Marvel. She had a female character that she created. She was talking about this fan community she had around the world. And so the character she had created had a magic cap. So she put this magic cap on, and when she did that, that gave her power, and she'd go out and do what she needed to do.
Yeah.
She was talking about how these fans around the world were creating their own caps and wearing them to get out of difficult situations. And so I thought, wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And she told the story of how one of her fans actually had cancer and how she wore the cap when she went into surgery. And there was something about that story that just got my attention, and I thought, if that's the power of a superhero, then if we can get young women thinking about being a tech superhero, we might have more chance of getting them. So I just thought, I'm getting goosebumps as I say that, but for me, it was just a very well-known concept that everyone can kind of identify with, and it's about finding your own place in the world and bringing that to life.
And what I love as well is, superheroes are more typically boys like superheroes more than girls, and I love that it's just breaking that down. So it's like girls are superheroes too.
Absolutely.
And that's
I like
awesome.
that. Yes, and also a sense of playful adventure. And it maybe too often men have been dictating the kind of things and colours and ways that girls can play, and even girls' toys, perhaps defining what girls like to play with. I was fascinated by the engineering video that you put up together.
Great, isn't it? Goldilocks is fantastic.
It is.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, and even hearing from the CEO last week about her struggles to get that off the ground, everyone kept saying it's never going to work. Girls don't like engineering toys. It's never going to happen. And she knew, like she just kept going, and then one day broke through. And now, I mean, I have them in my house. We gave them out as prizes last year, and to hear those stories from people who finally made it as well, and to say it's okay to fail, it's okay to get it wrong, it's okay to not get it right first time.
Yeah.
But keep trying
and persisting with your passion.
That's right. Go with your gut.
Yeah.
So is there a takeaway perhaps for some of the teachers who might be listening who want to do better at engaging girls in technology? I guess you were saying we should start a lot younger with inspiring girls?
Definitely. I mean, you start younger. So the research says we do lose girls around 9 years old with tech or with STEM. That's when, I guess, the media images start to take over and it's not cool to be in tech. That's when, I guess, the boys often take over in the classroom and push girls out of the way, and they're like, well, I don't care that much, so I'm not going to fight it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's when parents sort of maybe start steering them in different directions. And so I think couple of things. I think celebrating the women in history who've done amazing things in tech. So we mentioned a couple today. So if you haven't heard about, so do you remember Ada? So Ada Lovelace being the first programmer. We have Hedy Lamarr, who invented spread spectrum, which is the basis for Wi-Fi back in the 1920s, while being a Hollywood screen goddess on the side.
Why not?
Of course, you can be beautiful and smart. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And then you have Grace Hopper, who invented the compiler and COBOL programming language and literally changed the world with her inventions. So I think we need to have those conversations more and celebrate the contributions that women have made to tech history. Yeah. And I think being a little bit more aware of the unconscious biases. And I think the things that happen in everyday life that we don't realize. And actually just downstairs, I was talking to a teacher. He came up and said, every time I come into the room, I've got 19 boys, 6 girls. I say, hey guys, how you going?
Yeah.
And that kind of language can be a bit alienating to girls if sort of, I mean, I know guys is a slang that we all say it, myself included, and I was only just picked up on this recently. So, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time as well. So I think it's okay to say that we get it wrong. But I think if the language we use excludes anyone, then we need to rethink it.
Yeah.
And I think particularly because we are such a multicultural country, the word guys is a very Australian slang thing. So even people from other countries probably don't really get it either. Yeah. And that what it actually means to us, that we don't mean anything by it. And I think it can offend people. So I think just being a bit more conscious of the language you use, expecting to see women at the table, getting young people used to that idea that, okay, that it's a bunch of guys, there actually should be some women there making the decisions as well. And getting young people to expect that.
And not just assuming this is the default, then we will just go with what we think is mainstream and breaking down some of those stereotypes.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So I think those couple of things, if you do one of those, I think you're doing great.
I reckon it's all wonderful takeaways for teachers. And I hope you guys are listening and enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I certainly look forward to sharing. You could like to share once again your website.
Sure. www.techgirlsmovement.org. And you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those things. But share us your stories. We'd love to celebrate all the great things that you're doing with our network. And so drop us a line and order some free books.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now I'm going to catch that good idea. I'm going to catch your phone there. I'm going to catch a good idea here.
Catch a good idea?
Yeah, here we go. Got it.
So we don't need Pokemon, so I'll catch Pokemon. So let's catch some good ideas. I love it.
There's an app for that, sure.
Absolutely.
Bye all.
See you for the next one.
Thanks.